Alex Rivera had been blind since birth, but that hadn't stopped him from becoming one of humanity's most promising xenolinguists. When the Calthori delegation arrived on Earth, seeking to establish the first interspecies marriage alliance, Alex was chosen as the human representative, not for his disability, but despite the galaxy's assumption that it was one. The Calthori were a proud species, their society built on rigid beauty standards that determined social hierarchy. Their High Council had a problem. Elsa, the youngest daughter of the matriarch, possessed what they considered severe physical deformities. Her scales were an inconsistent mottled pattern instead of the prized uniform silver. One of her cranial ridges had failed to develop properly. Her eyes were different colors, a mark of shame in Calthori culture. "The human cannot see," Counselor Vrex had said, his voice dripping with what passed for Calthori satisfaction. "He will accept the damaged one, and we fulfill the alliance requirement without wasting a proper daughter." What the Calthori didn't understand was that Alex's other senses had developed with extraordinary acuity. More importantly, they had no concept of how humans perceived beauty, or how little appearance mattered when it came to genuine connection. The first meeting took place in a neutral station orbiting Mars. Alex stood in the diplomatic chamber, his guide implant giving him spatial awareness through soft audio cues. He heard her approach, footsteps hesitant, breathing slightly elevated, nervous. "Hello," Elsa said in carefully practiced English, her translator implant providing the words. "I am Elsa Rathkor of the Calthori matriarchal line." "Alex Rivera," he replied, extending his hand in the human greeting he'd been told to offer. "It's a pleasure to meet you." Her hand, scaled, three-fingered, and warm, touched his briefly. He noticed she pulled away quickly as if expecting rejection. Over the following weeks of diplomatic procedures, Alex learned Elsa's story not through sight but through sound, touch, and the subtle indicators his disability had taught him to read. He heard the way other Calthori addressed her, the slight pauses, the dismissive tones. He noticed how she was always positioned at the back of family groupings, how her opinions were interrupted or ignored during negotiations. "They think I don't know," Alex told his sister via encrypted video call one evening. "They think because I can't see her I won't realize they've given me their ugly duckling. What they don't realize is that I can hear how brilliant she is." Yesterday she corrected her brother's translation of an Earth custom. She'd clearly studied more than anyone else. And when she thinks no one's listening, she hums. "It's beautiful," his sister laughed. "So what are you going to do?" "I'm going to choose her," Alex said simply. "Not because I don't know what they intended, but because they're complete fools for not seeing what I can sense." The formal selection ceremony arrived. By Calthori custom, the human representative could request to meet all available candidates before making his choice. The council had arranged for Elsa to be presented last, assuming Alex would simply accept the first Calthori woman he encountered. Alex listened to each introduction with polite attention. Then he spoke. "With respect to the High Council, I would like to request additional private meetings with each candidate. However, I have a particular interest in speaking more extensively with Elsa Rathkor. Her knowledge of human culture and her linguistic precision during our brief interactions have been exceptional." The silence in the chamber was deafening. Elsa's sharp intake of breath was the only sound. Over the next week, Alex spent every allowed moment with Elsa. They walked through the station's gardens where she described alien plants to him, her voice growing more animated with each session. He taught her to appreciate human music through touch, placing her hand on speakers to feel the vibrations, explaining how sound could paint pictures in his mind. "You don't pity me," Elsa said one evening, her voice carrying wonder. "Why would I?" Alex replied. "You're the most interesting person I've met in this entire diplomatic circus. You actually care about the work, about building real understanding between our species. That matters more than whatever your people think about your scales. You know about—" "I'm blind, not oblivious," Alex said gently. "I've heard every snide comment they thought I couldn't understand. I've felt the way you're positioned and treated. The question isn't whether I notice their cruelty. It's whether you understand that their standards are meaningless to me." When the final selection came, Alex made his choice clear. "I choose Elsa Rathkor, not as a diplomatic convenience, but as a partner I genuinely respect and want to know better." The Calthori Council was trapped by their own machinations. They had assumed human blindness meant ignorance. Instead, they discovered that humanity's strength had never been about perfect vision. It was about seeing value where others saw only surface flaws. Years later, Elsa became Earth's most effective alien ambassador, her unique perspective bridging worlds. And Alex? He'd always known that the most important things were never visible to the eye anyway. The Kalthori learned their lesson. Never assume a disability as a weakness and never underestimate what humans notice, even when they can't see. Especially when they can't see. The end.